Hello, this is Statler Smith. You are watching one installment of a weekly series where I write an essay about something that's on my mind, record myself speaking that essay, and then upload that video to YouTube. For reasons set forth in the initial video in this series, this is a practice for myself. As such, this video will likely not be entertaining or particularly educational. Perhaps one day I will have value to add to others, but in the words of Aragorn, King of Gondor, it is not this day. If you choose to keep watching, feel free to give feedback on the clarity of thought and speech, as that is what I am trying to improve. Please let me know if you have undergone a similar journey or have tips to share. And who knows, maybe I will eventually add more video editing. With that, let's get into this week's essay. Hello, I'm Statler. Um, and this is the second of my double header essays for this week. This essay, I'm going to be doing a little bit of self reflection. Recently, I spoke with somebody who I've been close to for a lot of my life. Well, on and off, depending on the season, so to speak. During the conversation I had with them, I felt an undertone of competition. Right, it was just boiling there, like the river Styx beneath the mortal plane. And this isn't the first time with this person that has happened, or frankly, the first time in my life. As long as I can remember, I have felt the drive to compare myself with others and come out on top. That's how I define competition. I felt it a little bit less over the past few years, which is good. Um, Perhaps that's because I moved away from my family and the people that I would normally compare myself to. This recent conversation was a bit of a shock to me, as if I was remembering that kind of pain from the past, where I used to feel that way, and maybe I don't as much anymore. But it was a little bit of a shock to me, or maybe I was put in a previous mindset or something like that. Either way, that undercurrent of competition was something that I hadn't felt for a while, which I'm glad about, but I didn't enjoy it. The competition seemed to sap any joy that I would have felt as part of the conversation. I didn't feel like my best. I had a hard time looking at the person in the eye. I didn't know what to talk about. And as I mentioned before, the joy that I have had in other conversations before from reconnecting with people wasn't it was overshadowed by that sense of competition and the sense that I had to somehow get a leg up or one up them. Um, I want to converse freely to build relationships. And during the conversation, I didn't feel like I responded to to the need to one up them per se. Um, so I don't know if I spread that, but if I don't want to feel it myself, right? Not trying to one up somebody is great, but that doesn't mean that I'm not feeling joy. But maybe this is a little bit selfish. um, Now, as I mentioned previously, this isn't the first time I felt competitive with somebody. I've always seen myself in terms of where I rank compared to others around me on a variety of factors. Um, Now, this tendency is worse with those who come from a similar background that I do, because as all good scientists know, you need your samples to be as similar as possible to truly tell if the intervention made a difference. Um, Otherwise, confounding variables get in the way. So if I'm gonna compare myself to people, it's got to be people from my hometown, my siblings, extended family, as they're the ones that are the most similar to me, and therefore the ones that um, I can really tell if my attitude or my work ethic or these things actually make a difference. At least that's the rationale. So maybe that's a potential reason why moving away has been good for me. But that being said, why do I feel the need to compare myself with them in the first place? And it really does feel like a need. I want to take a tangent here. It really does feel like a need. Um, During the conversation and throughout my life, I have lamented this tendency of mine. I can feel my brain perform the comparison and my heart respond without my consent. I know it seeps my joy. I know that it um, doesn't feel good, but it feels like I'm not consciously doing it. I'm not intentionally um, making those comparisons and forming those conclusions. Feels like they're automatic, and I don't want it to happen. Um, when it does, I tell myself that everybody's in a different situation, that there's enough confounding variables, anyways, that a comparison is meaningless. I tell myself all those things. And all of those lectures do very little to my feelings. Um, which leads me to wonder, why am I so hell bent on measuring myself with others? For this, it's been helpful to analyze how I feel when I see myself coming out on top versus when I find myself lacking in that comparison. Um, when I win, so to speak, I feel an odd sense of relief or reassurance. Eventually, of course, that leads to pride, where I consistently see myself above others. But the initial feeling is comfort. It's a blanket. But on the flip side, when I compare myself and find that I'm being outperformed, I feel insecure. At times, this manifests as anger, but the underlying feeling is that I've failed, or that I am worthless, or that it's that sense of insecurity of my place in the tribe, my place with people won't like me if I'm not competent. Um, my acceptance in the tribe isn't guaranteed. My life is in jeopardy. Um, I've tried a few other explanations as well. Those are the ones that resonate with me about my feelings. And it's crazy. As I was writing this, um, I felt that, right? Which is how I know it resonates with me, because it wasn't words, it was feelings as well. And now this is fascinating to me. Why do I feel relief when I see myself as better, and anxiety when I see myself as worse? This makes sense to me evolutionarily, because if I'm more useful, my community will make sure that I'm taken care of. They will take care of me because they know that I can take care of them, right? My competence sets me apart as somebody who is valuable. Of course, that's precarious. Who knows when somebody more competent will come along and render me obsolete? With that in mind, though, why do I feel like my position in the tribe is based on my competence? Why don't I trust the tribe to look after me if I'm not contributing? And to make this more visceral and less evolutionary, why don't I trust that my family will accept me if I'm not capable? My wife, my sibling, parent, friend. Do I deep down think so little of them that I don't believe they would love me if I was suddenly no longer competent? Maybe. Um, I wonder if this is instead a defense mechanism. For this essay, let's accept as true the statement that human beings have a need to feel loved, welcomed, and accepted. And this is something that they're not able to do for themselves, or I guess we are not able to do for themselves. I'm going to include myself in humanity. I can't make myself feel loved. Feeling that need requires others to love, welcome, and accept me. And as such, it's inherently risky. Have I attempted to mitigate this risk by substituting being loved with being needed? If instead of me needing other people, I fill that hole by making other people need me, all of a sudden I can influence the outcome, at least a little bit. I can work harder to help others and put them in a situation where they rely on me, depend on me. It's not love, necessarily, but they have to accept me because of what I can do for them, right? Um, Now, instead of trying to substitute my competence, why don't I feel like I can rely on others to love me? Maybe because I can't, or at least I don't believe I can. Humans are fickle creatures. Basing my emotional health on other humans results in a roller coaster of a life. Um, and this is not only about whether or not they love me. The crux of the issue is whether or not I feel they love me, which only adds to the twists and turns of the roller coaster. If they're having a bad day, or if I'm having a bad day, I am not going to feel love. If we assume a 50-50 split between good days and bad days, I will only feel loved 1 out of every 4 days. That's assuming that I rely on one person's love. The more people I rely on, the more people can have bad days, and the less likely it is that I'll feel loved by, all of them. That being said, perhaps I'm looking at that the wrong way. Because if I rely on more people who love me, then it's likely enough that enough people will love me, hopefully, to compensate for those who don't. So maybe having many supports instead of a few is less risky, which makes sense. Um, but then one of the issues with this line of reasoning is that this perspective sees people as things that can give me love. um, things that can accept me. Uh, and they're not people anymore; they're things. I'm objectifying them as to you know, a vending machine where I put in some investment and they give me love. Which isn't great. So maybe going down a different route. Is it because I don't love myself, right? Um, if I don't love myself, then I'll it doesn't matter how many other people there are because the one I'm with all the time doesn't love me. So that's what I know. That explanation doesn't jive. It doesn't resonate with me. Um, I like spending time with me. Maybe a little bit too much. I think I'm hilarious. I think I'm thoughtful. I think I'm kind. And I'm a lot more at peace when I'm by myself than I'm around other people. There's nobody to compare myself to. There's no responsibility to help somebody else feel accepted. It's just me and my thoughts. And my thoughts are usually good, which I have been learning is fairly rare. Um, Now all that to say that yeah, all that is to say that I don't think this is an issue with loving myself. And if it is, I'm not aware of it. Um, it's just the explanation doesn't resonate with me. Perhaps I don't trust people to understand my worth. Um, at this point, I feel like I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole where the valuable arguments or the valuable the statements that resonate with me have already been said. Um, but that leads me to wonder, where do I go with this? Um, what do I do next? I If it's the case that I don't trust people to love or accept me, I substitute my competence for their love. I compare myself to others to determine whether or not I'm competent, and then the comparison leads me. The result of the comparison either leads me to feel either secure or anxious. Well, great. So now what? And I'm not really sure. Like this is all well and good to like understand myself and all that, but how does this actually help? Like when I talk with somebody and I feel that undercurrent of competition, do I stop and write down why I'm feeling that way and what I can feel instead? Um, I don't know. Maybe I'll look into cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT to look at specific um, practices. But this competition is something that I felt for a while. I've been working on it for a while. It hasn't gone away. Um, so maybe this is just one of the things that I need to live with, and I can come up with workarounds and whatnot. I can identify when I'm emotionally vulnerable, and so it doesn't impact other people. I can find ways to recover quicker. I don't know if I'll ever be free of it completely, so we'll see. And that's my self reflection this week. Thanks for tuning in. Over the next few weeks, I think I'll be exploring AI. I know what AI is a huge buzzword right now. But with what I do and my background, I think there's a decent chance for me to be a valuable asset to a lot of people. I have technology skills. I can code. I don't know if I need to code with a lot of AI, but if I need to, I can. Um, but I also have a technology risk background. Like I'm currently a technology auditor, and so for there's kind of a niche for people who want to use AI but are cautious about it. I think I can fill that niche. Um, but we'll see. Either way, it's going to help me automate some of my household stuff, my budgeting, um, and other stuff like that. So I will be learning it and probably summarizing what I learned and practiced during the week in these essays. Um, but yeah, that is my next project. So I'll let you know how it goes. All right, have a good week.